In this tutorial, we're going to introduce sliders and show how they can be used to depict the red, green, and blue values for a particular color. So from the Drake App Camp website, click on App Camp Part 4. We are on the sliders section, but again, no files to download, so go ahead and click on the App Inventor homepage link. Click on the orange Create button, and let's create a new project, call it Color Sliders. Okay, great. The first thing I want to do is basically kind of test this idea of a slider. So I'm going to drag out a slider. Let's rename it and call it the red slider for now. And I'm also going to drag out a label. We'll call this the red label. And make the initial text for that label be 0.0. Going back to that slider, notice it doesn't look all that interesting here, but I can change that width. Let's change the width to be, say, 300 pixels. It still doesn't look all that realistic here on this screen, but when we put it on the phone, it'll be fine. Notice that I have control over the color, what happens on the left-hand side and the right-hand side of the slider. So I'm going to change that right now to be red. I also can change the max value and the min value of the slider. So right now I want the max value to be 255 and the min value to be 0.0. So wherever I slide the slider, the left-hand side is going to be 0.0. The right-hand side in this case is going to give a value of 255. Okay, with that, go ahead and connect to your device. Great. Now notice that I can slide this slider around, but it doesn't affect anything at this point in time. Click on the blocks button and click on the red slider object here and drag out the when red slider.position changed. Notice there's an argument here that gets me that position where the slider happens to be on the slider. So in this case, I want to just change that label to reflect the value of the slider. So let's click on the red label and set the red label's text to be that thumb position. So mouse over thumb position and get that thumb position. Now, whenever I change that slider, notice that that number, that label changes. It's reflective of where that's the thumb position is on the slider. Okay, great. So next, let's go back to the designer window. And I'm going to get rid of that label. Just go ahead and click on it and press delete. That's okay. I'm going to add a couple of more sliders to this app and call this top one here, the second one, rename that and call this the green slider. I'm going to change its color to be green. Its max value should be 255 and the min value should be 0. The width, let's also change that width to be 300 pixels. Good. This last guy here is going to be the blue slider. And the color again should match the name, so we'll make that blue. The max value should be 255, the min value 0, and the width, again, I'll make that 300 pixels. Okay, so I'm going to make three sliders that whenever I change any of them, it's going to change the background color of a canvas. So go under Drawing and Animation and drag out a small little canvas here. We can rename that to be our drawing canvas. Okay, so that's all I need for this stage. Go to the blocks editor. And so when the red slider positions change, what I want to do is have the drawing canvas's background color change. So click on Drawing Canvas, scroll down to background color. We're going to set that drawing canvas's background color to a new color. So under the colors drawer here, we're going to make a new color. Now colors have three components, a red, a green, and a blue component. And those numbers can range between 0 and 255. And so that's what we had those max values that set at 255 for. In this case, I'm going to make a color based off of the value of those sliders. So I don't want to have those numbers by default in there. I want to make a list of colors, of component values for the background color based off of the values of the sliders. So the red slider, I'm going to get its thumb position. I'm going to copy that and paste it and do the same thing for the green slider. and paste that and do the same thing for the blue slider. Now whenever anybody changes the red slider, I'm going to have the background color of the drawing canvas updated to be the values defined by the thumb position of my 3 sliders. It's only going to work if I change the red slider, so here's a trick. I'm going to copy that entire block here and paste that entire block because I want the same thing to happen for the green slider. And do the same thing again for the blue slider. Great. So now notice what happens with our app. If I change the red position, the background color changes. So if I have the red all the way to the max and the green and the blue all the way down, I have a red background color. If I change this, red and green light make yellow. If I put all 3 to the max, that makes white. If I just have red and blue, it makes a magenta color. So you can see how all the colors can be depicted by just a value between red, green, and blue. So that's the basic introduction to sliders. They can be used for lots of different purposes. Go ahead and incorporate a slider into the next app that you make.